Intro, everyone's talking about a digital gold rush, but they're looking in the wrong place. For 20 years, the big idea was that data was the new oil. The more you could extract, the richer you'd get. Marketers became digital wildcatters, drilling into every corner of the internet. They set up these complex rigs of trackers, pixels, and third party cookies, trying to siphon off every last drop of user behavior. They were digging for what they thought was gold, a huge, endless reserve of third party data that promised to make their ads perfectly targeted, perfectly efficient, and infinitely profitable. But that era is over. That gold, it was fool's gold, and the ground beneath those drilling rigs is collapsing. While some companies are still frantically digging, trying to find the last few nuggets in a depleted mine, they are getting slammed with massive brand crippling fines. They're watching their data sources evaporate into thin air. And most importantly, they're losing the one thing that actually matters, their customers' trust. But a new breed of marketer is emerging from the dust. They're the pioneers of a new frontier. They've realized the old maps are useless and the old tools are broken. They've discovered that the real enduring gold isn't the data you secretly take, but the trust you publicly earn. Their secret? They've stopped digging for data and started building for privacy. And in this video, I'm going to show you the new map. I'm going to show you how to join the real gold rush, the gold rush of privacy-first marketing. Hook. The shift we're seeing isn't a minor tremor. It's a seismic, landscape-altering earthquake. The old world of marketing, built on a foundation of pervasive and, let's be honest, often creepy tracking, is being dismantled. This isn't some future prediction, it's happening right now, driven by three unstoppable forces that are closing the all you can eat buffet of third party data for good. If you don't get a handle on these forces, you're not just at risk of falling behind, you're at risk of becoming obsolete. Let's be clear about what we're losing. For 2 decades, the third party cookie was the linchpin of the entire digital ad world. It was a tiny piece of code, a digital breadcrumb that your browser would store for one website and then let other websites read. It sounds harmless, but its power was enormous. Imagine you visit a website about learning to play the guitar. A cookie is dropped. You then go to a news site, a social media platform, and an online store. In the background, a whole network of ad tech companies you've never heard of, are watching that cookie. They see you're interested in guitars. They build a profile on you. User 78954, likely male, age 30-40, interested in music, probably a hobbyist. That profile is then bought and sold in the blink of an eye on ad exchanges. So when you visit that news site, an ad for a Fender Stratocaster follows you. When you're on social media, you see a promotion for online guitar lessons. It felt like magic, but it was just a system of mass surveillance, operating on a scale that's hard to wrap your head around. It was cheap, it was easy, and it powered a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And now, it's all coming to an end. Section 1. The End of the Old World. The Problem. The first force dismantling this old world is the regulatory tsunami. For years, the internet was a lawless frontier, a wild west where data prospectors could do whatever they wanted. That era is definitively over. The first real shot across the bow was the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, in Europe. GDPR wasn't just more bureaucratic red tape. It fundamentally redefined the relationship between people and their data. It established that personal data belongs to the individual, not the company that collects it. It forced companies to get explicit, unambiguous consent to collect and use that data. And it gave regulators the power to hit them with astronomical fines, up to 4% of a company's global annual revenue. Suddenly, being careless with data wasn't a slap on the wrist. It was a potential existential threat. This was followed by a wave of similar laws all over the world. The California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, and its successor, the CPRA, gave Americans powerful new rights. Brazil introduced the LGPD, Canada has PIPEDA, and there are more on the way. These laws aren't optional suggestions. They are the new rules of the road, and they represent a global consensus. Unconsented tracking for commercial gain is no longer acceptable. Businesses that get ahead of this by adopting privacy-first strategies can minimize their risk of crippling fines and legal battles. The second, and maybe even more immediate force, is the browser blockade. The very gatekeepers of the internet, the companies that make the browsers we all use, are turning off the taps for third-party data. Apple was first, aggressively blocking third-party cookies by default in Safari with its intelligent tracking prevention. For marketers, it was like a huge chunk of their audience just vanished overnight. Mozilla's Firefox followed suit with its own tough tracking protection. But the final nail in the coffin is coming from the biggest player of all, Google. Google is in the process of phasing out third party cookies in Chrome, which holds the majority of global internet traffic. While the final timeline has been delayed due to regulatory hurdles, the process has begun and the direction is irreversible. By the time this process is complete, the third party cookie will be effectively extinct. Think about what that means. The ability to track a user from one website to another? Gone. The ability to build detailed behavioral profiles based on browsing history? Gone. The entire business model of countless data brokers and ad tech firms is now on life support. This isn't a trend, it's a technical reality. The infrastructure that powered the old gold rush has been scheduled for demolition. But the third and most powerful force is the one that really matters: the consumer uprising. People are finally waking up to how their data is being used, and they are not happy about it. High profile data breaches are everywhere. Documentaries have exposed the shady underbelly of data hungry tech giants, and the result is a deep and growing distrust. The statistics are staggering. A huge 86% of Americans say data privacy is a growing concern for them. Around 68% of consumers globally are worried about the sheer volume of data businesses are collecting. This isn't just some vague anxiety, it's changing how people shop. Nearly half of all consumers, 48% to be exact, report they have stopped buying from a company specifically because of privacy concerns. Let that sink in. Almost half of your potential customers will walk away if they don't trust you with their data. It gets worse. A stunning 93% of people said they would switch from their preferred brand to a competitor if that competitor offered a better privacy experience. Consumers are actively seeking out brands that respect them. They're using ad blockers, they're scrutinizing those cookie consent banners, and they're losing patience. 63% of global consumers believe most companies are not transparent about how their data is used, and a tiny 29% find it easy to understand how a company even protects their data in the first place. This is the perfect storm. The law says you can't do it. The technology is stopping you from doing it, and your customers don't want you to do it. The old world of marketing isn't just dying, it's being deliberately dismantled from all sides. The all you can eat buffet is officially closed, and the prospectors who refuse to see the writing on the wall are about to find their minds have run completely dry. Section 2: the peril of staying behind, the agitation. So, what happens to the marketers who fail to adapt? What does the future look like for those clinging to the old useless maps? It's not a pretty picture. It's a landscape of digital ghost towns, wasted money, and broken trust. First off, you'll be flying blind. The whole promise of third party data was targeting and measurement. You thought you knew who you were talking to, and you thought you knew if your message was working. In a world without cookies, that illusion shatters. Imagine spending a big chunk of your budget on a fancy retargeting campaign. In the old world, that was easy. Today, it's becoming next to impossible. Without the ability to follow users across the web, your retargeting pools shrink to almost nothing. Your ability to build lookalike audiences is crippled. Your advertising becomes less like a sniper rifle and more like a shotgun blast in the dark. You're just shouting into a void, hoping someone who cares is listening. This leads directly to the second peril: a massive surge in wasted ad spend. When your targeting is blind, your efficiency tanks. Every dollar you spend reaching the wrong person is a dollar thrown away. Your customer acquisition cost, or CAC, will skyrocket. You'll be paying more to acquire fewer, lower quality customers. And think about the feedback loop that modern marketing runs on. You run a campaign, you measure the results, you see what worked, and you optimize. That whole loop breaks without reliable tracking. The pressure from the C suite to prove the value of marketing is already immense and growing. How can you justify your budget when you can no longer prove it's working? You can't. You're left gambling with the company's money. The third peril is the data drought. Some marketers might think they can find a workaround, turning to shady data brokers who claim to have a loophole. This is a terrible idea. That data is becoming increasingly toxic, its quality is questionable, its accuracy is decaying, and using it is a huge legal and ethical liability. Are you positive every single person in that database gave explicit consent for their data to be sold to you? Because under laws like GDPR, the burden of proof is on you. Using this data is like building your house on a foundation of legal dynamite. Sooner or later, it's going to blow up. And that brings us to the biggest peril of all: the complete erosion of trust. Trust is the currency of modern business. In a crowded market, it's often the only real differentiator. A full 81% of users believe that the way a company treats their personal data is a direct reflection of how it views them as a customer. When you rely on sneaky tracking, you're sending a clear message. You see your customers as data points to be exploited, not people to be served, and customers are responding. As we've seen, nearly half will stop doing business with you over privacy concerns. In contrast, 84% of users are more loyal to companies with strong security controls, and 60% say they would spend more money with a brand they trust to handle their data responsibly. The companies that fail to adapt will become the digital ghost towns of the next decade. Their brand will become synonymous with spam and intrusion. And while they were busy mourning their old, broken tools, their competitors will have built thriving settlements on a completely different foundation. Section 3: The New Gold Rush. The solution. This is where the story turns. This isn't a eulogy for marketing, it's a declaration of its rebirth. The end of the old world isn't a crisis, it's a clarification. It has forced us to face a simple truth. The most valuable asset in business was never the data you could secretly collect. It has always been the trust you can openly earn. This is the new map. Privacy first marketing isn't a defensive move. It's the single greatest growth strategy for the next decade. The new gold rush is on, but the gold isn't data, the gold is trust. So, how do you become a prospector on this new frontier? You need a new set of tools. This is about embracing a better way of doing business, broken down into three disciplines: staking your claim, reading the land, and building a lasting settlement. Tool 1: Staking your claim, a first party data strategy. First, you have to stake your own claim. In the old world, marketers were just tenants, renting audiences from Facebook and Google. In the new world, you must become a landowner. Your land is your first party data. What is first party data? It's the information your customers willingly and directly share with you. It is the most valuable, accurate, and ethical data you can possibly own. Think about it: website and app interactions. What info do users provide when they create an account? What pages do they visit on your site? Purchase history. What have they bought? How often? What's their average order value? Email and SMS subscriptions. When someone signs up for your newsletter, they are giving you a direct line to them. Loyalty programs. Customers are actively trading their engagement for value. Customer support chats. These are a goldmine of insights into customer needs and pain points. This data is your foundation. Unlike third party data, it's pristine. It's accurate because it comes from the source. It's relevant because it's about their relationship with your brand, and it's compliant because you collect it with full transparency. Building this strategy is a process. First, you collect by creating a fair value exchange, offer a great ebook for an email address, create a loyalty program with real benefits, make an interactive tool that actually helps solve a problem. Second, you unify. Your data is probably scattered everywhere. A customer data platform, or CDP, brings it all together into a single view of each customer. Third, you segment. Now you can group customers meaningfully: your VIPs, at-risk customers, people interested in a specific product, and so on. Finally, you activate. Use those segments to deliver truly relevant experiences. Send a special offer to your VIPs. Create a re-engagement campaign for at-risk customers. This isn't the creepy personalization of the past. It's helpful personalization that deepens the relationship because it's based on data they knowingly shared with you. Tool 2: Reading the land. Contextual and zero-party data. Owning your land is essential, but you still need to find new customers. How do you do that without creepy tracking? You learn to read the land through contextual advertising and zero-party data. Contextual advertising is basically a return to the roots of advertising. Instead of targeting the person, you target the context. It's brilliantly simple and privacy safe. If you sell hiking boots, you place an ad on a blog about the best national park trails. If you sell kitchen mixers, you put an ad on a recipe website. Modern AI has made this incredibly powerful, analyzing the nuance of an article to ensure your brand shows up in a safe and relevant place. You reach people in the right mindset without knowing anything about their personal browsing history. But what if you want even deeper personalization? That's where zero-party data comes in. If first-party data is what customers share through their actions, zero-party data is what they intentionally and proactively tell you. It's them raising their hand and saying, "Hey, here's some info about me to make my experience better." How do you get it? Through fun, valuable interactions, quizzes and assessments. A skincare brand can create a Find Your Perfect Routine quiz. The customer gets personalized advice, and you get rich data on their needs. Interactive polls and surveys. Just ask your audience what they want. What new products are they interested in? What content would be most helpful? Preference centers. This is crucial. Instead of just subscribe, unsubscribe, let customers tell you what they want to hear about and how often. Let them choose their interests. This transforms your marketing from a monologue into a dialogue. Combining first party and zero party data unlocks the kind of personalization customers actually love. McKinsey research finds that companies who get this right generate 10 to 15% more revenue. It's not about surveillance, it's about service. You're using the data they gave you to serve them better. Tool 3, building a lasting settlement, trust and transparency. You can have the best data in the world, but if you don't have trust, you have nothing. This is the final and most important tool. It's not a tactic, it's a philosophy. It's about building a brand that people trust and want to be a part of. First, be radically transparent. Your privacy policy shouldn't be a 50-page legal document. It should be a simple, human-readable explanation of what data you collect, why you collect it, and how you use it. Be upfront. If you're using purchase history to recommend products, explain the benefit. We use your past purchases to suggest other items you might love. 83% of consumers say they'd be more inclined to shop on sites that are open about their privacy practices. Second, empower your customers. Make it incredibly easy for them to control their data. Your user account dashboard should let them view, edit, or even delete their information. This isn't a legal burden, it's a trust building feature. When you give customers the keys to their own data, it shows respect and builds massive confidence. Finally, make privacy a core brand value. Don't hide your commitment to privacy in your website's footer. Celebrate it. Make it part of your marketing. Look at Apple. They have masterfully woven privacy into the fabric of their brand. They run commercials about it. They talk about it in their keynotes. The result? Apple enjoys a brand loyalty rate of around 90%. Their customers trust them, and they reward them with unwavering loyalty. This is the moat that privacy builds around your business. It becomes a competitive advantage that's incredibly difficult for others to copy. This is the new gold rush. It's not about finding a sneaky new way to track people. It's about staking your claim with first party data, reading the land with contextual and zero party data, and building a lasting settlement founded on trust. It's harder work than just planting a cookie, but the gold you'll find, authentic, lasting customer relationships, is infinitely more valuable. Conclusion. We've traveled from the crumbling ghost towns of the old marketing world to the thriving frontier of the new one. We've seen that the end of third party tracking isn't a threat, it's the greatest opportunity marketers have had in a generation. The old gold rush was a short sighted race to the bottom, exploiting user data in ways that were unsustainable, unethical, and ultimately unprofitable. The companies clinging to that old model are going to fail. They'll be fighting over scraps of worthless data, wasting money on ads that don't work, and alienating the very customers they're trying to reach. But the new gold rush, the privacy first gold rush, is about building a better, more sustainable, and more profitable kind of business. It's about recognizing that consumer trust is your most valuable asset, and the only way to earn it is by respecting your customers as people, not data points. By building a robust first party data strategy, you create a foundation of your own accurate, consensual data. By mastering contextual and zero party data, you can reach the right people with personalization they actually want. And by embedding trust into your brand's DNA, you build a competitive moat that will be the envy of your industry. The path is clear. Privacy is no longer a compliance issue for the legal department. It's a strategic imperative for the marketing department. It is the new competitive advantage. The businesses that embrace this shift won't just survive, they will define the new world of marketing, building stronger, more authentic, and more valuable relationships with their customers than ever before. The gold rush is here. The map is in your hands. It's time to start prospecting. CTA building that foundation of first party data is the critical first step on this journey. It's the bedrock of everything we've talked about. If you want to learn the specific, actionable techniques for creating a powerful first party data engine for your business, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. In our next video, we're going to show you the practical strategies you can use tomorrow to start staking your claim in this new frontier. You won't want to miss it.